Hi, and welcome to Cenario, your partner in mental wellness. Here on our channel, we share educational, insightful, and science-backed content to help you understand your mental health and take meaningful steps toward a more balanced life. If you're ready to learn, grow, and take control of your wellness journey, let's jump right in.
You know, in today's work culture, it is so easy to feel like you're just constantly running on fumes. But what happens when that daily pressure turns into something more, something chronic? Well, that's what we're going to talk about, what it means and what you can actually do about it.
So, does this sound familiar? That feeling of waking up already exhausted? Your mind is just racing with worries before you've even had your first cup of coffee? Or you find yourself staring at a screen, totally unable to focus? Yeah, it's a feeling a lot of us now.
If that's you, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not alone. This isn't just you having a bad week. It could be your body and your mind sending up a flare, telling you it's time for a real, meaningful break.
Look, a little bit of stress is normal in any job, right? But the kind that just never lets up, that chronic, grinding stress, that can have some really serious consequences for your health. We're talking about burnout, which is basically a state of complete emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion.
So, what do you do when you hit that wall? Well, luckily, there's actually a protected tool out there designed for this exact situation. Let's dig into what stress relief really is. So, at its core, stress leave is pretty simple. It's time off from work that you take when severe stress makes it pretty much impossible for you to do your job. You got to think of it just like you would any other serious health condition, because that's what it is. It's a legitimate and, honestly, a necessary time for recovery.
Now, in the United States, this leave is often protected by something called the Family and Medical Leave Act, or FMLA. And this is huge, because it provides protections that address the biggest fears people have. It can give you up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave. It makes sure your job is safe for when you return, and it allows your health insurance to continue.
Okay, so how do you know if you've hit the point where you might need to think about this? Let's go through some of the most common warning signs. Just see if any of these are hitting a little too close to home.
First up, chronic fatigue. And listen, this is not just feeling tired after a long day. No, this is that deep, bone-weary exhaustion that just doesn't go away, even if you feel like you're getting enough sleep. It's your body's way of screaming that it's totally overwhelmed. Often, that constant work stress spills over and can manifest as really serious mental health symptoms. You might feel on edge all the time, or maybe hopeless, or maybe your moods are just all over the place. These are not things you should just power through. They're serious signs that you need some support. You ever feel like your brain is just stuck in a fog? When you're dealing with chronic stress, your ability to think clearly can take a major hit. This might show up as having trouble concentrating, making simple mistakes you wouldn't normally make, or just being way more forgetful than usual.
You know, mental stress has a funny way of showing up physically. We're talking about things like frequent headaches, constant stomach issues, nausea, or even chest pains that your doctor can't find any other cause for. Your body really is keeping the score.
This one is a massive red flag. When you start to lose that spark, not just for your job, but also for hobbies and things you used to love doing, that's a classic sign of burnout. That feeling of just not caring anymore is your mind telling you it's checked out.
And finally, are little things causing huge reactions? You know, if you find yourself on the verge of tears over a typo or snapping in anger because the printer jammed, it's probably because you're so emotionally overloaded that you just don't have the capacity to handle one more thing.
Okay, so what if you recognize yourself in those signs? What's next? It's not enough to just know you need a break. You have to know how to actually get one. So let's walk through the exact steps you need to take.
The whole process really boils down to 4 clear steps. First, you've got to confirm if you're even eligible. Second, and this is crucial, you have to see a doctor. Third, you'll need to notify your employer. And finally, you'll submit the official paperwork.
So let's zoom in on that first step, eligibility. To qualify for FMLA, there are 3 main boxes you have to check. 1, you need to have been with your employer for at least 12 months. 2, you need to have worked at least 1,250 hours in the last year. And 3, your company has to have 50 or more employees within a 75-mile radius.
Now, this is the question I hear all the time, and it is so important. Is stress or a mental health issue really a valid reason for taking this kind of protected leave?
And the answer is a clear 100% yes. FMLA absolutely recognizes that a mental health condition like severe anxiety brought on by stress is a serious health condition, especially if it's getting in the way of you doing your job. Please remember this. Your mental health is your health, period.
Now, taking the leave is the first brave step, but how you actually use that time, that's what's going to make all the difference. This isn't just a vacation, it's a dedicated time for recovery. So let's talk about how to make it count so you can actually heal and come back even stronger.
You know, a successful recovery really has two parts. While you're on leave, your entire focus should be on rest, setting boundaries, like no checking work email, and leaning on your support system. Then, when you're getting ready to go back, the focus shifts to getting clearance from your doctor and planning a gradual, supported return to work. It's a whole strategy for healing.
I want to leave you with this idea because it's so important to reframe how we think about this stuff. Taking a step back to protect your well-being isn't weakness. It's not giving up. It is an act of incredible strength, self-awareness, and profound respect for your own health.
So this all brings us to the final question, and it's a big one that only you can answer. Your health. It's your most important asset. Everything else, your career, your family, your goals, is built on that foundation. So the question is, are you ready to make that foundation your #1 priority?
Thank you for watching Cenario. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. For personalized mental wellness supplements, visit Cenario.com. See you in the next one.